Hello, beautiful souls. So I just wanted to create a quick intro. You are watching a live replay of the 5 things I wish I knew before starting my spiritual journey. So as you watch the video, you will see me responding to comments from people who were able to attend the actual live. I appreciate your patience and getting through the video while I do things like that. So I just wanted to let you guys know it's going to seem a little choppy, but the information is still really, really good. All right. I also want to make a really quick announcement that I do have a few more spots left for my full moon in Capricorn virtual group Reiki, okay, on June 24th at 8 p.m. Okay, it includes a breathwork session, a Reiki session, so clearing out all root chakra blockages, which is associated with Capricorn. Okay, so releasing any blocks to relationships moving forward, blocks to money and finances, okay, blocks to career, alrighty, and very specifically creating stability in all of those areas. So your relationships, your career, and your finances. All right, it's going to be really fun. I'm also going to do a full moon tarot and oracle spread after we get through all the other fun stuff. And it is only $22.22, you guys. I wanted to make sure I made it super affordable. So you can register for that event through the link in the description box. It's right at the top at the description box. And I am super excited to share that space with you and bring you some healing. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy the 5 things I wish I knew before I started my spiritual journey, and I hope you're having an amazing day. My spiritual journey, I feel like, has been a lifelong one. I find that people who are healers, like Reiki practitioners, therapists, doctors, nurses, they tend to go through a lot in their lives very early on, especially from childhood. So I want to give you guys a little background just so you can understand a lot of the trauma that I signed up for in this life before I became like a human being, when I was a soul, right? Because we all sign up for our lessons before we're born into this world. So when I was little, I was abused as a child. My mom was very physically and emotionally abusive to me. So growing up was very difficult. Not trusting my emotions, not trusting myself, not having a sense of safety. So talk about like heavy root chakra blockages from like the beginning of my life, okay? Then when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with anorexia. For anyone who doesn't know what anorexia is, it's an eating disorder. It's a restrictive eating disorder. So basically I was starving myself to death. And I dealt with that up until my mid-20s. So from the age of 12, before my teen years, up until the age of like, I would say like 25, 26-ish, alrighty, which was very, very traumatic. Then when I was 20 years old, I know I'm going through this very fast, but because it would be a completely separate video, me talking about my life. Then at 20 years old, I was paralyzed, like head to toe, fully, like couldn't walk, couldn't speak, couldn't blink my eyes. I couldn't communicate at all. I had a very aggressive autoimmune condition called Guillain-Barré syndrome. So I was fully paralyzed head to toe for an entire year, like held up in a hospital bed. So I had to learn how to walk again, how to feed myself, how to talk, how to do everything. Like, I cannot tell you how gratifying it is to be able to do this. Because when I was paralyzed, I couldn't move my hands at all. So after my paralysis, that is really what opened my eyes to health and wellness, because before I got sick, I was very entitled. I was very selfish, self-absorbed. In school, I was actually pre-law undergrad, believe it or not. But okay, perfect. So Stephanie, right? Yeah, anyone who's paid for the readings, just tell me. I haven't seen any Cash App or Venmo come through yet, but Steph, I got you. Let me know that you guys paid. Anyway, my paralysis is kind of, I call it the catalyst, but all the events I talked about previously to that happened to me in my childhood really kind of nudged me along my spiritual journey, right? Opened me up to a lot of healing. And I also, it very much so from the age of 18 through my early 20s, I went through a lot of domestic violence. I was in a lot of abusive romantic relationships with boyfriends, and thought I deserved it. My sense of self-worth was so low. My confidence was so low. So that my paralysis really kind of pushed me in a health and wellness direction. And I started off with fitness. I became a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for over 10 years. Then once I graduated, undergrad, I went to school to get my master's degree. I got my master's degree in nutrition and dietetics with a concentration in education. Then I went into nutrition, so I became an integrative nutritionist plus a personal trainer. And then as my practice grew, and I was doing it as a side hustle, guys, I was working a 9 to 5. Just for fun, 80, what is your name? So I was working a 9 to 5 this entire time, my entire adult life. And then at the age of 29, I left my 9 to 5 to pursue my integrative nutrition practice full time as an entrepreneur. And let me tell you, that was a rough fucking ride. That, I think, in addition to everything else, expedited the process of going on a spiritual journey. And then COVID came. And y'all know, when we were forced inside and we had to stay in our houses, what else could you do? You had to focus on yourself. The distractions were stripped away. So many of life's distractions were stripped away, okay? So you had to focus on yourself. And I decided to take a step back. I closed my nutrition practice, okay? And, okay. Latitude of Gratitude and Just for Fun 80, what are your names? I need your names so I can add you to the list. Anyway, all of 2020 and still into 2021 and for the rest of my life, I am on the spiritual journey. When I first started, I started listening to Abraham Hicks a lot, Law of Attraction stuff. I watched The Secret. I read the book. I read a lot of Law of Attraction books. I really started listening to a lot of podcasts, like things trying to like shift my mindset a little bit. So when I started doing that, I had this like glorified idea that, yes, I had this glorified idea that I was going to be this master manifester and this like spiritual guru, because I'm a perfectionist. I'm an Aries, Sun, Moon, and Sag rising. I'm all fire. I'm very driven. I'm extremely driven. So I thought I was going to plow my way through my spiritual journey. Just plow through it. Because yeah, that's how you should, embrace spirituality, by like, bull in a china shop type of mentality. Completely not. I'm laughing at myself. I'm like thinking of my past self last year and I'm like, oh gosh, what a dummy. Anyway, so going through all of that, I'm going to get into the 5 things now. Okay. So the first thing I wish I knew about before starting my spiritual journey is that it is a commitment. It's a huge commitment. Okay. And here's why. I practice self-care every day. Every single day, without fail. I make space for my self-care. It is one of my top priorities, okay? You wanna know why? Because I am my top priority, nobody else, okay? For example, if my fiance asks me to do something during my designated self-care time and I don't have time to move it anywhere else, I tell him, I love you, but I can't help you. And and to a lot of people that may sound selfish or mean, but being selfish when it comes to caring for your emotional well-being is not selfish, okay? It is not selfish. So yeah, daily self-care. So I meditate every single day and every single night. I ground my energy. I say positive affirmations. I journal, okay? Those are the things that I find helpful. I work with crystals. I actually have some in front of me. You guys might like these. So this is called Caribbean calcite. It's actually a relatively new crystal. It was just discovered recently. Caribbean calcite. To me, it reminds me of sand and like jetties in the ocean. And then I also have infinite stone. Isn't it? This is infinite stone. And then the last crystal I have here is serpentine. It's hard to see it, but it's a very light green. It's a very, very light green. Okay. So self-care is non-negotiable on a spiritual journey. Non-negotiable. This, so in addition to other commitments, you expect to step out of your comfort zone. Expect to step out of your comfort zone. Okay? Going on a spiritual journey is extremely uncomfortable. A lot of the times, you guys, I felt like I was crawling in my skin. I was like, who am I? Like, why do I feel like this? I thought a spiritual journey was supposed to be all like Zen and like sunshine and rainbows, and meditation was supposed to bring me peace. And I'm sitting there like, wow. I'm like, I'm having to break down all of these old like habitual patterns that were based out of my trauma from my past. Okay? So expect to step out of your comfort zones and change up your routine extremely, okay? Then setting boundaries with others and myself. So setting boundaries with myself, that kind of ties into the self-care piece, like setting time boundaries, like making my self-care a non-negotiable. That's a boundary for me. Also, setting boundaries with others. So for me, that was very much people pleasing. Okay, I had to set a boundary with stopping people pleasing, stopping codependency, okay? Not letting people speak to me in a demeaning way, or seeking external validation for my own choices. That was a big boundary for me, you guys. I've gotten very good at not giving a crap about what other people think of me or what other people think of my choices in life. And most people get thrown off. I am doing readings, okay? They're $10. You can pay through Cash App or PayPal. The links are in my bio. My Venmo is in the comments as well. Once you pay, just tell me, and make sure you write your name. Anyway, what affirmations would you say? So my biggest affirmation that I've been saying recently is that I'm proud of myself and I am proud of my accomplishments. I have a beautiful life. For me, focusing on the blessings that I have currently, all the amazing things that are in my life are so important. Yeah. Not seeking validation from other people, it is such a good way to help you step into your power. Okay. Hey, Dave. Dave. Is that your name? Dave? Dave Greening. But yeah, so stepping into your power, heavy solar plexus activation is so rewarding, but it is probably one of the most difficult things you will ever do if you are not used to telling people no and you are used to asking people for advice all the time. If you're used to asking people for advice all the time, you need to take a deep dive, babe. You need to take a super deep friggin' dive, alrighty? Because it's not necessary. It's not necessary. You can trust yourself. You can trust yourself, okay? Letting go of the need, like the perceived need, okay? Yeah, people pleasing. So people pleasing, I feel like I don't personally think it's like a zodiac trait. I think it's a trauma trait. I don't think it's a zodiac trait. I think it's a trauma trait. Any type of trauma, so any type of response where you seek external validation for things is a characteristic or trait that has grown out of a trauma. So if you people please or if you are codependent, or you seek external validation, you seek opinions from others when you don't trust yourself, okay? If you have low self-worth and low self-confidence and you fish for compliments all the time, for example. A lot of us do that. Sometimes I catch myself still doing that, and it's something I'm working on as well, right? Because like I said, I have low self-worth. Or I used to. But all of those things are born out of trauma. So whatever trauma trait you are manifesting, that you are experiencing right now, I highly recommend you journal about it. Write down the traits you know you have that you want to address, the people pleasing, the codependency, the external validation, whatever it is, and meditate on it. I guarantee you, if you tap in with your higher self and your divine guides and ask for help with the healing that you need to do, you will find out the root cause and you will work through it and it will go away. And I can't give you a time frame. I know some of you may ask, like, how long does that take? I don't know, because you all are different. You're all very unique individuals. There's no set standard for healing. There's just not, because my journey is very different from all of yours, and all of your journeys is different from mine. Okay? So, moving on. This is still number one. It's a commitment. When it gets hard, keep going. When it gets hard, keep going. You're gonna cry a lot. I cry all the time. I know when you guys see me on my lives, I'm like all like bubbly and loud and like I am right now. But there are moments, like frequently, where I cry, for sure, because this process is ongoing. And learning and accepting the fact that crying is healthy is another aspect of this. Committing to allowing your body and your energetic body to release energy. Guys, if you hold on to like emotional energy, it will affect your physical body. You can gain weight, you can have excess inflammation, you can have high stress. And stress, guys, is the root cause of all disease. I'm not even kidding. From an endocrine perspective, from a hormonal perspective, every cause of every disease is stress, some form of stress on the body, okay? Energetic stress, emotional stress is just energy, okay? Emotions are energy. That type of stress, heaviness in the body is not healthy, so you have to release it. How do you release it? Journaling and crying. Journaling and crying and meditating. So get on it. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm glad you think I'm kind. I call myself a tough love tarot reader because sometimes I'm like really direct. All right, so moving on to number 2. The second thing I wish I knew before starting my spiritual journey. Meditation isn't always peaceful. Meditation isn't always peaceful. It's not. There have been times in meditation where I've gotten so frustrated, I've taken my journal, I've ripped pages out, and I've slammed it on the ground. That was part of my meditation. Yes, exercising too is a great way of releasing excess energy. Don't think you need to be like all zen and like tapped in when you're meditating, because you don't know what's gonna come up. Right? You just don't know what's going to come up for you. And that's okay. When you go into meditation, the best advice I can give anybody is have zero expectation. Go into it with zero expectation. Okay? Don't expect to find inner peace. Don't expect to cry. Don't expect to be like spiritually enlightened. But yeah, so meditation isn't always peaceful, okay? And that's okay. I feel like if you guys are getting frustrated, especially if your mind is racing when you're trying to meditate, that's okay. That's okay. Any new meditator, you're probably gonna have racing thoughts because your ego, which hates change, is like, why are you doing this? This is very different from what you've ever done. I'm gonna try and stop it because it's change and I don't like it. Okay, so know that it's ego. It's very much ego, like racing thoughts constantly. All right, that could be it. It's not the only reason, but typically when you're meditating and you have racing thoughts, it could be ego. Also, if you have racing thoughts, don't beat yourself up about it. That is the worst thing you could do. That is the worst thing you could do, okay? When you have racing thoughts, when you want to meditate, just accept that they're there, okay? Don't attach an emotion to the thought. Just be aware of it and let it go. It will be saved. Abby, it will be saved. It will be saved in my lives. And I will be posting this on YouTube. All right, so meditation isn't always peaceful. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's going to look different for everybody. Just start. The racing thoughts, best advice I can give you is just let them flow. Just let them flow. And if you notice that you're having the same repeating thought, journal it, write it down, because when you journal things, you guys, when you physically write things down, it's like you're extracting the energy from your brain and putting it on paper. You're removing it and putting it somewhere else, okay? So, number 3. The third thing I wish I knew before starting my spiritual journey. Expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. You will probably have, if you haven't already, a lot of tower moments. I call them tower moments because I'm a tarot reader, and you guys have seen the tower card. I'm wondering if I can find it because it paints such a good picture. But the tower card, it looks really scary. It's like a tower, like the Tower of London, burning to the ground, completely burning to the ground. There's fire and brimstone, and it's just it looks very scary. And when I pull it for clients, they always freak out. Here we go. They always freak out about it because they're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Okay, here we go. This is the tower card. This is what I mean by tower moments. You see how these guys are falling and they're really friggin' scared, and there's this lightning and fire and whatever. So when I say tower moments, it's literally to shake you out of the old version of yourself. These tower moments are destroying people, places, and things that no longer serve you. It is cutting off attachments to things that no longer serve you. So, for example, I have I wouldn't say lost. I am no longer friends with 2 they were close girlfriends, okay? I canceled my wedding. I no longer talk to my mom, okay? I'm a little estranged from my family because they are all Christian, and I was raised Roman Catholic, but they think, because of their belief system, that my soul is damned and I'm going to hell because I'm a tarot reader and a Reiki practitioner and a medium and so on and so forth. I don't believe that, right? But that's another example too, going back to it's a commitment, setting boundaries, and not people pleasing. I would have never done that in my past. I would have never done that. Okay. Oh yeah. And then my family found out about my gifts and what I do really indirectly, from someone I never would have expected to tell them. So that was another tower moment. The universe threw me in the spotlight, and I was not, I thought I wasn't ready for it, but I was, I guess. But that's another example of a tower moment. So losing friendships, relationships ending, moving a physical location, completely demolishing the old you. Oh, thank you. You're completely demolishing all the trauma traits that have been built from your life. And that is hard, okay? So lots of tower moments, but in a good way. It's all positive. I always use the example, when you go through a breakup, it sucks. It really friggin' hurts. But then when you're a year past it, you look back and you're like, oh, I'm really glad I went through that relationship because I learned this, that, and the other thing. But I would never date that person again. You would never go back. So that's the correlation here. You look to the past, you honor it, but you move forward. You're I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to the old version of me. I honor her, I love her, but I also release her. You will. You will have a lot left because you're building something new to replace it. You're building something new to replace it. All right. Another thing, this popped in last minute for me, crazy friggin' dreams. Crazy dreams, okay? A lot of lucid dreaming, a lot of signs coming through dreams, waking up at obscure times of night, like 3 or 4 a.m. And then waking up tired a lot, because I find that at least my divine spirit guides, I call it sleep school. So when I'm in dream state and when I'm in a subconscious state, because my ego is completely taken out because my conscious mind is asleep, that's when my divine spirit team gives me a lot of downloads and they teach me stuff. Okay, I upgrade a lot spiritually and emotionally in my sleep, because that just, my ego is very strong still, and my spirit team seems to think that that's a good way. Okay. Another thing under expect the unexpected, gifts coming online. What do I mean by gifts? I mean by like your like psychic gifts, intuition on fleek. Okay. Like knowing things before they happen, having prophetic dreams, mediumship, like speaking to the spirit world, having a heightened sense of intuition, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, okay? So clairaudience is like hearing spirit. Clairvoyance is like seeing things before they happen. I forget what clairsentience is. That one I always forget. But your psychic gifts come online if you're empathic. Yeah, so with the crazy dreams, guys, write them down. I started doing voice memos because my hand would get so tired from writing. It was easier for me to speak and save the voice memos, okay? But gifts coming online. So this year, you guys, so last year, I've always known I'm an empath. I've always known I'm an empath. And honestly, I was born a medium, but my family was so staunch Catholic that I was too afraid to embrace my gift. I just pushed it down. I pushed it way down. So earlier this year, my mediumship came online, way online. And it happened because one of my best friend's dads passed, who was a father figure to me. I love my dad, but he just happened to be a very strong father figure in my life, okay? And he passed a year before last, okay? And I went to stay with her for a few days to just visit because we're college friends. And I walked into her house and bam, I was like, what? Like, I felt like I could hear him. I could feel him. I could feel him touching me. I remember one night, guys, I was so scared. This is before I really, truly embraced my mediumship. I felt, because he's kind of a jokester, I felt him like tug my hair a little bit. Like, I was sleeping alone at night. No one was in the room with me. I was completely alone. And you know when you're like so fucking scared that you're like wide awake at night? That's the feeling. That is the feeling I had, okay? So when that happened, a lot of spirit was coming through, and it scared me. It really freaked me out. Thank God I have a really good girlfriend who was also born a medium, but her mother is a medium also, and fostered her gifts from childhood. So she is like a very, very, very great resource for me. But talk about gifts coming online. I'm also clairvoyant. I'm clairsentient. I'm clairaudient. I've got all the clairs pretty much. So I'm always like online. I'm always online. So with regard to your gifts coming online, guys, make sure you set strong energetic boundaries. For example, if you're a medium, you don't always want spirit coming in and talking to you. So you have to say like, I'm not interacting or communicating with anyone or anything from the spirit world until I say so, without coercion or force. Okay, that's my boundary. And at nighttime is usually when you get bothered, and I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with that. No thanks. So the last thing under expect the unexpected, shifts in relationships. I kind of talked about this a little bit. Shifts in relationships. Like I said, you may lose friends, lose romantic partners, lose family, or the dynamic will change in a really healthy way. So I will tell you that my fiance and I, we pushed our wedding an extra year because we were supposed to get married in 2020, but COVID. But also we had a lot of underlying issues that we were not talking about. And because I stepped into my power, because I let go of people pleasing and codependency, I started talking to him about things that really bothered me, that I knew he was uncomfortable with. Finances was a big one. He is he was very uncomfortable talking about money, okay? And conjoining our finances when we got married. We're not married yet. But that we had a big tower moment then. We didn't break up, but we demolished an old aspect of our relationship so we could rebuild stronger. That's what I mean by shifts. Okay, relationships don't have to end when you go through your spiritual journey. It's just old aspects of them that no longer serve, die out, get demolished, so new, better foundations can be built back up. Okay? So the fourth thing I wish I knew before starting my spiritual journey. It's not about escaping, it's about facing everything head on. I'm gonna repeat that. It's not about escaping, it's about facing everything head on, okay? What do I mean by that? Your shadow work, your healing, facing your trauma, facing the dark parts of yourself that you have been afraid to face your whole entire life. That is a big part of spiritual journey. That's actually a big part of manifestation. I cannot tell you how frustrated I get when I see all these accounts on friggin' TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or wherever you guys are watching stuff, where they're like, oh, just think positive thoughts. Just ignore, all your, don't think about your shadow or like your, like all the trauma that you've been through. Just think positively. Just constantly think. But you know what? That only works for so long, okay? Because your trauma is gonna bubble up because it's been there, babe. It has been there and it ain't going anywhere until you heal it, okay? So a big part of manifestation, and I feel like manifestation is a big part of spiritual journey too, because you are the master of your reality. You are the creator of your own reality. But to be the creator of so you are born a creator of your reality, okay? You are born with the ability to manifest, but that doesn't mean you've mastered it. Mastery of manifestation takes work, especially if you've been through a lot of trauma. Okay? So facing everything head on, your shadow work, bad habits, okay? Even like bad daily habits, all right? Like binge watching Netflix, that's a form of escapism, okay? Binging on like social media, like scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through YouTube or Instagram or whatever, okay? It blows my mind sometimes, you guys, when I see like the stupidest shit get like 1 million views and stuff. Like, and that's fine. Like, you need to be entertained, but I don't know. I feel like quality over quantity. That's just my philosophy, but that's just me. Oh yeah. And then facing others' opinions about what you should do and who you should be. Actually facing the people that you are afraid to open up to. You've got to face them. Like avoidance I was a master of avoidance. I would avoid telling people like sharing my authenticity with people. I was like, no, I'm just gonna stay on social media. I'm not gonna share with my family or friends. But it came out anyway. The universe gave me plenty of opportunities to open up to people, and then I didn't do it, and then I got forced. Yeah, exactly. That's why, you guys, you'll never see me put hashtags on my TikTok videos, because I have complete and utter trust in the God source universe, whatever you resonates with you, that those videos will reach whoever they're meant to reach, okay? I'm sorry, God is more powerful than any fucking algorithm. God is more powerful than any algorithm. Sorry, I'm writing this down because that's good. God is more powerful than any algorithm. Can I get like a hell yeah? or like, all right, so the fifth and final thing, and this is the most important. There is no destination. When you start your spiritual journey, don't go into it thinking that there is a time frame. Time does not exist. It is a man-made construct, okay? Time does not exist. So your spiritual journey does not have a destination. It just doesn't. So don't put pressure on yourself to reach specific milestones, because those are obstacles that you are placing on yourself. No one is saying you need to do that except for you, okay? So I don't know if you guys have seen the Never-Ending Story, the movie. I would recommend you watch it to kind of immerse yourself in this concept of there is no destination. It's a never-ending story. Your story never ends. Your story never ends. Okay, and then the last thing I want to say is, with regard to having no destination, a big part of that is to find peace in every circumstance, no matter what. Oh, thank you, Rob Rodriguez. Well, with my master's degree, I do have a concentration in education. So I am formally educated in like educating people. So it's probably why. I mean, the glasses probably help too. I don't know. I had to take my contacts out. My eyes were so dry. My eyesight is terrible, by the way. I have like all these psychic gifts, but my physical eyesight is shit. Like, how ironic is that? How ironic is that my eyesight is so crappy, but I'm like psychic AF? I don't know. Maybe it's like a God joke or something. But anyway, so my final thing to say is the point of your spiritual journey is to find peace in chaos. Find peace in chaos. No elementary teaching for me. I don't think I could handle that personally. God bless all teachers. I have so much respect for teachers. But finding peace in the chaos, finding peace in the tower moments. Even when shit is hitting the fan, stay peaceful. First thing you say to me is facts. Sorry, I'm constantly spitting facts to you guys. I don't hold back. I'm really direct. I'm really direct. When you guys ask me a question, I answer you directly. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm really not. It's not my personality. Like, I am very much like love and light. But if you ask me a direct question, like, you're gonna get a direct answer. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching the 5 things I wish I knew before starting my spiritual journey. I appreciate and love you so much, and I'm so grateful for all your support. If you have any questions regarding my spiritual journey or your own, please feel free to put them in the comments. I love to read your comments and answer them for you guys. Also, just another friendly reminder, make sure you reserve your spot for the full moon in Capricorn group virtual Reiki, which is on June 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even if you can't make the Reiki, you will get sent the recorded video so you can receive the Reiki at any time. Alrighty, so you can do that through the link that is in the description box at the very top. And I look forward to sharing space with you guys, and I hope you're having an amazing day.